Hello, everyone. So exciting to be here with you this week. This is the second episode of my 2024 December Doing It series. I actually have been doing this for 4 years now. This is our fourth year, and it's been super fun to interview different women leaders that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years and really showcase their leadership in this bigger way. But I wanted to talk before we get into today's interview. First of all, I welcome you to say hello, post in the comments. I would love to see who is watching us live. And while we do that, I want to talk for a minute about December. And the reason why I say this is because actually Marie is part of Team Badass, and she can post in the comments a link to my podcast, which is called Women Changing Leadership. And this week I came out with a podcast episode talking about all of the insane things that I did literally just yesterday. And December has this feel of busyness, end of the year, crunch time, getting it all together. But then it also has this really incredible magical component. So if you get the chance, you can listen to my personal stories on my podcast episode from this week. But also I have my daughter who is preparing for a holiday concert. And she's walking around the house singing this song called In December. And so I just wanted to read this before we get started today. It says, "In December, is it true that we're a little bit happier, a little bit cheerier, a little more light?" And then skips down to the end and says, "Would that we could always see the better selves we want to be." And I think that is like such a great reminder of the magic of December and the beauty of December as a touch point, that it really does feel a little bit cheerier, a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter, and this opportunity for introspection. So I'm realizing that part of the December Doing It series is to remind you of that light, that brightness. And as you're listening to the incredible women that I have on today, to reflect back within yourself and ask yourself the same questions that I'm asking them, and just use it as an opportunity to reflect on your own leadership and to be inspired during this time of a little bit cheerier, a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. I think it's such a beautiful reminder. So without further ado, let me just get into the interviews here. I want to talk about the amazing women that I have here and the work that we're doing inside of the leadership table. So the leadership table is an executive coaching mastermind. And these women, all of the women that I'm showcasing as part of December Doing It, have been in this mastermind with me, working directly over the years. And I like to think of this mastermind group as a secret society for women leaders. It's part strategy, part accountability, and part magic, where we all come together to lift each other up to higher levels of leadership. But another thing that we're doing is we're making sure that we're doing it on our terms, that we're creating a pathway that looks like us, so that when we do get promoted, we not only have success in that higher level leadership position, but it feels like we're creating the role that we were meant to be in. And each one of the women that I work with have their own unique journeys and stories to share and tell. And so that's why I bring them on to today's episode. So let's start by introducing ourselves. Julia, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, Stacy, and hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. Thank you so much, Stacy, for inviting me to the panel. And so my name is Julia Roitenberg. I am joining you from Canada in the Greater Toronto area, and it's cold and kind of snowy here today. I see myself as an executive leader, as a public sector, health sector leader, a strategist, a coach, and a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see you as those things as well. That's great. Thank you, Julia. Welcome. And Zhiyan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. My name is Zhiyan Xu. I'm a portfolio lead for Charles River Labs. And what I do is I ensure the worthy projects get the resources and the right people get the right spot for results and growth.
Nice. I love that. All right, Zhiyan, let's start with you. What do you feel like are some of your secrets to success?
I'll have to say that my secret of success is believing in kindness. It sounds soft, but it actually resonates with a lot of people. It's to recognize everybody's personal truth, including my own. And that allows us to build real connections and trusts. So that's my
Oh,
secret.
yes. Now we know. Oh my God, that is beautiful. Thank you. What about you, Julia?
So the secrets to my success can really be summed up in three interconnected steps that I followed throughout my career: curiosity, analysis, and strategic vision. So firstly, I always begin any new project or initiative with curiosity and a beginner's mindset, knowing that I'm not the expert, I'm the learner. I meet people, ask questions, and listen to understand their perspectives. From there, I transition into analysis mode. I take the insights I've gathered and start doing my own deep dive. I immerse myself into the data, the operations, the systems, and the stories to truly understand the issues. And once I've gathered the insight and analyzed the landscape, I focus on developing a strategic vision for moving forwards. And I kind of repeat that cycle again and again. It helped me to adapt, learn, lead effectively, no matter the situation.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's brilliant. As you're listening to both of these women share their secrets to success, don't think that they just came up with this overnight. This is an evolving process to really understanding themselves. So I encourage you, if you're watching us live and even if you're watching the replay, to type in the comments what you might feel, sum it up in one word or two words, what you think your secrets to success are. Even just owning it right now, you can sort of look at it and you can say, oh, is that true? Is it kindness? Is it strategy and analysis and curiosity, right? Like, what is it that really defines me and has also worked with me for me throughout the years? So let us know in the comments. The world is bigger than just the three of us. So I encourage you to share in part of that experience as well. All right. Going back to Julia. So what are, and maybe it can spin off of what you just shared with us in terms of your secrets to success. I think that's probably how you lead as a leader as well. But what are some of the considerations that you put into place when you're leading either a team or a project or any initiative or whatever it is that you're stepping into a leadership role?
Yes, thank you, Stacy, for this amazing, insightful question. So, as a leader, my primary goal is to elevate human potential at the individual, organizational, and societal levels. So, I'll speak a little bit about those three components. So, at the individual level, I focus on supporting people as individuals through coaching, mentoring, recognizing their strengths, aspirations, and areas of growth. At the organizational level, I'm always thinking about how to build strong, resilient, high performing teams, structures, processes, and culture. That means fostering trust and collaboration and encouraging innovation and making sure that every voice matters and heard. And the societal level, I know that ultimately the work we do as leaders doesn't just impact our teams and organizations. It has a ripple effect on the communities that we serve. And so making sure that we impact positively our communities, making sure that we're advancing equity, inclusion, and well-being, and building a better future for those that we touch is really, really important to me as a leader.
I was going to say the word amen. I hope that's appropriate and okay, but I was listening to you and I see this idea of walking the talk, right? So if you're going to realize that your work and everybody around you is going to impact society in a bigger way, then of course you have to kind of emulate that in your leadership. So when you're connecting with somebody, you're connecting with them in this real, honest, heartfelt way all along the process, right? And then you can't help but impact society. So it's like this circular way of leading that kind of, it's almost like it starts, from the outside in, but then the inside out, and it kind of goes back and forth. So I really appreciate that. That's incredible. And I know that you've been able to accomplish some really big work in the world as a result of that. So yeah, I admire all of the women that I work with, but I get like kind of giddy. I'm like, oh, you're so good. All right, Zhiyan.
I will say that to be a leader is also to be a person, right? We need to be human. So my goal as a leader is actually quite similar to my goal as a person, is to be the best version of myself. And along the way, of course, it involves a lot of aspects and dimensions, but I never forget that along the way, I want to create that environment for people around me on all levels, in all directions, so that we can come together to bring the best part of ourselves together to create a future we want. Um, on top of the technical skills that we each possess, it has a lot to do with active listening, verifying assumptions, bring awareness to unconscious bias, etc.
Mm.
So that's my definition of a good leader.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I feel like I was like, as I was listening to you, you have such great stories for each one of those. But the one that kind of stood out to me was this idea. What did you say? Questioning assumptions, or how did you describe that?
Very active listening, verify the assumption.
Verify assumptions.
Verify
I like
assumption.
that. That's
Yes.
not something, we hear these words thrown around, inclusion or active listening, and they, at some point, they're just words, right? And so we all have that leader that's like active listening, but they don't actually practice that or whatever, and we can just say these things all day long. But I feel like as you were talking, this idea of verifying assumptions, it feels like a glue in a lot of ways to your ability to active listening. It's like, okay, what are they saying? But what are they saying behind what they're saying? And what do they actually need from me? And
Mm.
and so I wonder if you could share more about what it means, like in practicality, to verify assumptions. I don't know. I just think that's such a
Sure.
great.
Assumption is such a thing that bites you from the back, because in the moment, people may not be aware of that.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
experience matters a lot. To consciously call out the past assumption that you became aware of in order to set a good path for future. And one example is common sense, right? Everybody says, oh, that's common sense. But no, actually, there's no such thing as common sense, because
Exactly.
everybody have their own experience and forms their definition of what norm is. And you'd be surprised how many times I've seen different parties coming into the same project or initiatives, and they all have their definition of what's the end result should be, the acceptance
Mm-hmm.
criteria, etc. And you don't know it until you get into a little bit into the work and realize, wow, we have very different standard and expectation towards each other. So it's always very good to call out at the beginning, hey, what is our definition of done? What is our acceptance criteria? When do we expect each other to communicate? So these are, I would say, something that can be templatized to increase the chance of success technically, but also that awareness should be embedded. I advocate for that,
Mm-hmm.
embedded in everybody's mind to watch out for whether you're taking things for granted
Mm-hmm.
in life as well.
Mm.
I think that's a very good checkpoint with someone to introspectively look at our lives at different stage and make it a habit of practice, the
Mm.
self-examination.
So good. That's really great. Perfect also for the month of December, I think, as well.
Indeed.
So good. So, continuing on this theme of self examination, a question that I like to ask everyone if they come on my podcast and also as part of this series is, why do you feel motivated personally to have that seat or that voice at the table? Let's start with you, Jian.
Oh, again, right? It's who I am as a person. Why do I want to have a seat at the table? Is because it's about taking ownership of my own life and experience. I spend a significant amount of time at work. So naturally, my working environment should be one where I can thrive, right? And beyond just checking boxes and scratching the surface and doing those very not in-depth conversations, I
Mm-hmm.
want to live life to the fullest. So I want to be fully engaged and embrace the challenges, the truths and struggles and opportunities, right? And the way which one option would be the best. I want to meet different people,
Mhm.
create common memories and experience that's positive, and cherish them. I think that's my wealth of life.
Mhm.
I also want to witness the younger generations bloom in front of me as I coach and mentor them. And maybe someday they will grow to be a leader that I want to work for. I want to surround myself with. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a celebration of life to me. So being at the table goes beyond just having a voice for me. It's about shaping the narrative and making the decision that matters, right? Creating the impact right now. But it's even more about showing people who I am and let them join me in this journey of celebration for life. It's always better to be author of your own story. I believe that. And it's always better to stay true to your story so that others with shared vision can join you along the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what matters to me.
So good. All right, Julia, I know you have a lot to share on this subject as well. So why do you feel motivated to have a seat at the table?
So for me, having a seat at the table is deeply personal. It's rooted in my own journey and experiences. I've gone through immigration several times. And when I first came to Canada, I remember what it was like to start over, to feel uncertain, and to not always have the resources or connections I needed. So those experiences shaped me and instilled a strong sense of responsibility to ensure that others don't face similar barriers. So now that I'm more settled and in a position where I can contribute in a meaningful way, I feel a deep obligation to use my voice and my seat at the table to drive change. So for me, sitting at the table is not just an opportunity, it's a responsibility. It's about having a voice, creating impact, and ensuring that the work I do helps others in ways that I once needed myself. So that sense of purpose keeps me really motivated every single day.
Me too. I am so motivated by both of you. I have goosebumps. I'm just like, so my heart is full. I am so grateful for your leadership. I can't wait to see what happens in 2025 for both of you and for every single person listening to today's broadcast. I'm so grateful for you sharing your thoughts, your ideas, and the energy behind all of it. It is just so inspiring. Thank you for joining us today. I invite you to connect with both of them on LinkedIn and also to keep in touch with me as well. And if we're not already connected, welcome to my world and the amazing work that we're doing inside of the leadership table. Thank you both. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Stacy,
Stacey.
Julia.
Thank you.